What was it like testifying?
Gosh, I've never felt so many emotions ever, and that says a lot. Having gone through what I've gone through. I was feeling very stubborn. I can do this. He's just sitting there and I'm going to be fine. At that point I had known he wasn't shackled. And so that made me uneasy. I walked up and sat down and realized how close he was. He was probably double the length that you and I are, which is
That's
not
very
far.
close.
Yeah. And then the prosecution is behind, and so you have to look toward him in order to see the questions being asked, and then the judge is over this direction. So I testified, I saw videos, and I lost it completely. I was ugly crying, no apologies, obviously, bawling, answering questions, and a little bit of it was in this very emotional haze. Looking back on it, in the time I was very cognizant, and then it was done. And they said, you know, any cross-examination, which is what I was fearing, they didn't have any, thank goodness. And they said, you can get up, and I was like, I can get up, and I was like, I don't think I can move, because you're just so overcome. And I remember getting up, and my whole body was shaking, and there was like a step, maybe two, down from the stand, and I took those steps, and then I stood there, and I realized that he was right there, and I was like, I stood up really tall, and I was practicing my ballroom posture and my power pose, as my friend Amy Cuddy would say, and I was like, just stood there, and I looked at him, and you know, the New York Times reported that security had to step in. That's not true. And the security was on this side of me, and he was on this side of me, and I just stood there. And you could have heard a pin drop, I heard, but that phrase of, you know, you don't realize everything else in the room sort of sits still, and all of a sudden somebody opened like a candy wrapper or something, and I was jolted out, and I just booked it out of the room as fast as you can on a prosthetic. I was like hobbling, and collapsed and lost it, and that's when my friends at the FBI and prosecution and my family and friends that were there to support me as best they could came out, and I lost it.
And how, looking back on that brief interaction, what has that meant to you?
Everything. I'm so proud of myself for doing that. I have no problem saying that. I'm so proud of myself. And that moment, you know, people were asking, do you want to go to the sentencing? Do you not? I thought, no, I had my moment. I don't want to hear him speak. I don't know what his voice sounds like. How great is that?